So I just wanted to quickly say before I go into the intro of this next episode, I am going to take a little break during the summer. We've got a big project on which we need to be all hands on deck. So just going to have a gap, and I'm batching some new episodes up already and got some really cool interviews to come. So yeah, I look forward to sharing them with you guys. And yeah, and thanks everyone so far for following, listening to the episodes. It's really appreciated. It's good fun, this, so I'm just gonna keep chipping away at it. All right guys, cheers. Earlier this year I had a Chinwag with Leigh while he was right in the middle of a crazy busy winter season. I think at the time he was doing natural selection. Ed has become one of the defining voices in action sports over the years, and he's worked alongside some absolute legends such as like Todd Richards, Sal Masakela, and many other broadcasters, basically helping, you know, bring snowboarding and action sports to the audience around the world. A lot of people in the UK will know him as face of the BBC Ski Sunday, and I think he's been doing that the best part of 20 years. But yeah, beyond TV work, he's just had an incredible journey through snowboarding, and has built a career around the sport and culture he genuinely loves. So yeah, he's a legend. He's an epic career, and he's still going hard. So yeah. Anyway, enjoy this episode. I thought it would be a good one to chat to Ed. Man, he loves chatting. So brace yourself for this one. He's got some great stories, and yeah, enjoy. See you guys in a bit. Peace. How's things anyway? You all good? You must be. Yeah. You've got a Tintin going on there.
I've always got a Tintin going on.
So are you basically, you got no idea what time zone you're on right now, from literally like Europe, and now you're in LA, you know, like, how are you feeling?
The last 11 weeks have been, what have I done? Did 5 weeks ski Sunday, 3 weeks Olympics, a week snow league, 5 days at home, and then I'm about 4 days into natural selection.
No way. That is a crazy busy winter.
I was in Colorado, so I should have gone home for I should have stayed in America for 5 days, but I hadn't been home. I hadn't seen Sean or the kids for 9 weeks. So I was like, I'm going home. I've got to go home. So
yeah, that's a long time.
But it's kind of weird. Like, on the one side, it feels really glamorous, you know, like, as you get to our age and you're like, oh my God, I still get to travel around for snowboarding. This is the best thing ever. But then, so you feel guilty about not going
having
back.
Having a really fun job.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then thinking that it's not, like, that, saying that it's hard, because like, we've got mates who are doing it so hard. So you're like, yeah, this is the dream, but it's not always the dream. Like, I had a night in Aspen. This hasn't happened to me, I don't think, before, but I'd been in so many different rooms in such a short space of time. I did one of those wake ups where you're like, I've got no idea where I am. Like, I'm like, what's going on? I know I need a piss. I've got to get to the toilet. So found my way around, like, worked out suddenly, as in the 2 or 3 minutes that I was climbing around the room working out where I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in Aspen. There's a toilet here.
Way.
And then I went for the light switch in the bathroom where I thought it was, and the next thing I knew, I was just on the floor. Had these giant bruises came up the next couple of days on my arms and my leg. I'd collapsed, like jet lag in the middle of the night, needing a piss in a bathroom, and was like, okay,
damn.
Yeah, you might be pushing too hard here. You're trying to do too much. Slow down. That was what I took from that.
Yeah. God, like a bit of a warning signal, just to get some time to relax. Didn't know you were doing Snow League. So, like, are you just commentating at that event as well?
Yeah, there's a guy on NBC for the Olympic commentary. There's Todd Richards, but then there's a guy called Todd Harris. And if Tim Warwood is like Todd Richards, then I'm like the Todd Harris dude. And he does Snow League as well. We both do another job together called Sail GP, which is like Formula One for sailing. And he had a clash between one of the Sail GP jobs and Snow League. So I got the call up for Snow League. And I haven't always been complimentary about Sean over the years.
Yeah.
And I was like, a couple of friends have been doing that Snow League job for Sean White. And I was like, I don't think I'll ever get the call up for that. And it came. I went.
Amazing.
And yeah, it's quite a weird one this year. I don't know what's happened. Like, I'm 50 and I've been waiting for someone to tap me on the shoulder and say, yeah, it's all over. You look like a rhino's nutsack and you're kind of too old to do this. And this winter, I'll have done Ski Sunday, the Larks Open, the Olympics, natural selection, Snow League. And I got a call from Jess Kimura the other day to go and do the uninvited.
No way. That's amazing.
So I'm kind of like, what's happening? I'm like, I've got the best gigs ever and I'm old and I'm not sure why.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, man, you're like up there with the voices with like Grenier, Todd Richards. You know what I mean? Like you are just like, you know, you're obviously fresh off natural selection right now, which is, I think, wicked timing chatting to you today, which is cool. Literally, I feel like I was with you yesterday because I watched the whole thing.
How sick was it? I reckon it's one of the best ones we've had since Jackson.
Yeah, the conditions look amazing. And then that Bryn Alexander is his name. Dude, he's like, what a beast.
All of them. Like, you've got like the amount of energy you've got from all of those riders now. Like Bryn Alexander, full. You know, his dad's a stuntman. Like,
no, I didn't know that.
And he's a full stuntman. Like, as a kid, he grew up from Ted. He'd be like a skate double for kids in films. He was in RoboCop. Have you ever seen that film Wonder with Owen Wilson and Julia Roberts about the kid?
Yeah.
He's in that. He's in. Like, he's got quite a hefty kind of stuntman credit list, but then...
Yeah.
And his dad, from what I've heard, his dad's a bit of a legend as well, but that's his kind of MO.
Wow, that's his background. So then he's like, yeah, and snowboarding, I guess I don't know how long that's been in his life, but yeah, he's obviously a pretty loose dude. So put him on a snowboard, he's going to be like doing some epic stuff.
Well, how much did it remind you of John O'Verity? His enormous backflip off that cliff to the flattest landing you've ever seen.
I sent it to him and just went, you're going to 100% approve of this. And yeah, he did it so nice. The way he comes off the lip. I mean, I'm not one at all for backflipping off drop-offs, at all, but he made that look quite easy. Like, I don't know, there's something about it. He just sort of leans back and then just...
Yeah, it was so... I've done a couple of them and I've over-rotated every single one.
Yeah.
Like, in your head, I think when you go off a drop and backflip, you're like, there's no pop. So I haven't got much time, and I think it's quite scary in that respect. And I've pulled too hard and landed on my ass or my back every time. But I mean, how on earth you measure like that? Must have been 80 feet.
Yeah, it was so big. Yeah, what a legend.
You'd be scared cliff jumping that height. Really scared.
100%.
If you showed someone that on the side of a harbour wall and said, right, you're going to jump off that into the water, a lot of people wouldn't be able to do it. And he's done it.
Yeah, that was... I think he just did it on a snowboard. Yeah, it was so sick. Unbelievable. Yeah. I remember actually with Jono, we gained it off a cliff. Do you remember we actually were chatting to you in Greece and we gained it off a cliff, like a 7-meter cliff, which is like, I don't know how many feet that is, but it's nothing near 80 feet. And that felt massive, and I was really nervous. So 80 foot on a snowboard, you're just like, what the fuck?
I also think, like, it's not like you stop and look over the edge, though. You haven't got, like, if you're doing a cliff jump into water, you have to stand there and eyeball it. Whereas when you ride up, there's a kind of level of cognitive dissonance where you're like, I think I've got this. Woo!
Yeah. You don't get to have a quick look over, go back, do you? You just got to go and like... Yeah, that's mental.
But the energy that was up there, like you look at the way Miles Fallon, that young, quick kid, it was like...
the front flip onto the deck, wasn't it? And then off or something? Yeah.
But then his energy at the top and bottom of the course, you look at Travis, like just fully locked in for the day. I love that. You get so... Like the action is part of it, but the way people... kind of all of that energy in one place. It's like watching some kind of miniature volcanic eruption, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. It's so sick, isn't it? Oh man, yeah, amazing. And Giggy as well. He did well, didn't he? He looked comfortable. He was like,
It's
yeah,
I
did his
love that
element.
format. I feel like we see way more riding rather than having head-to-head battles where you just get two
Yeah,
matchups. I love that we get to see at least every. Well, I mean, you're going to see everyone three times, but you almost get robbed when Nils and Giggy get taken in the first run. You're
mm,
like, oh, right, you don't get to. But the fact that he got it done so early and so cleanly.
yeah, so good.
My favourite still, I'd say favourite. They're all so good. Like Dustin Craven's incredible, but I love Blake Moller's riding.
Yeah,
There's a
he's sick.
blend of that really graceful, elegant riding, but with so much power as well.
Yeah, so much power. Yeah, Austin Sweet's a bit like that with power, isn't he? He just goes big and just fast, and like he's a great one to watch.
But he's got that touch on the board as well. Like
Mm.
it's so his turns are so good.
It's such a sick event, isn't it? I'm like so hyped that it's on.
Well, the fact that they'd
Yeah,
had I spoke to Liam Griffin, the founder, the founder alongside Trav this morning, and we had a little debrief. There were loads of little things. He's just like full, like we all are, actually a nerd, and
yeah,
just is like,
totally.
right, okay, what do we need to do for finals? How are we doing this? And we talked about a few different things, but we're just breaking it all down. And yeah, it's outrageous the conditions that they got. There was 30 to 40 centimeters of fresh snow sat there. It had a little bit of warming, but then it got really cold and sucked all the moisture out. That got rid of the crust. And then they had 10 to 15 centimeters on top of that of just
Yeah, like the really light stuff. Yeah,
so like it was Rima, the director, was trying to get the drone pilots around those big cloud bursts as soon as someone landed. But the fact that you can't see what's going on because there's
yeah,
so much spray.
it is hard, isn't it? Even like Bryn's the big backflip off the cliff. He obviously stomps it, but it's literally like you have to wait a second for him to sort of come out of that like bomb hole essentially, or whatever he's created under there.
Some
Do you know what
meteorite crater.
I mean? Yeah, exactly.
We were
Yeah.
joking on the broadcast about them extincting a rare form of skink with that impact, whatever lives in that vicinity.
Oh, dude, yeah. Oh man, what? Yeah, can't wait to watch it. So it's gonna be on for 5 days now, right?
Yeah, well, we're wet. Yeah,
Four
we'll just
days.
sit and wait. There's a 2 day storm in, so Wednesday, Thursday here, it's just going to storm. The whole lot will reset. There should be another 40 to 50 centimeters drop on it, and then it will go again on probably
My God,
Friday or Saturday.
it's perfect, isn't it? It's
It's
like too good.
unreal, unreal. Yeah,
Like they've manifested the conditions beautifully.
I think it's the old trick, isn't it? Red Bull have done a deal with the devil somewhere. Like I've been to so many Red Bull events over the years, and there's been a couple of cancels, a couple of weather holds, but on average, it's insane how good the conditions are for those things.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I'm excited to watch it all, and yeah, I'll be tuning in. Um, but yeah, dude, thanks for coming on my pod. Like, obviously, so stoked to have you on this. And I've just got like, I've got like 10 or 12 questions or so. We'll just go through them. And I wanted to talk about natural selection, which we've done. But what I want to do is also go back to you and like where actually snowboarding began for you, because I actually got no idea. And then maybe how you could explain how that crossover with presenting also happened because that must have just, I don't know if you were just snowboarding first and then somehow you got into that world, like, can you tell us a bit about your story, really?
Yeah. Well, it's first up, thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Time spent with
Thank
you
you.
is time well spent, Si.
Mate, appreciate you. You too, bud.
I grew up in Gloucester, which I describe, it is, I'll probably get hammered for saying this, but in the 80s, 70s and 80s, when I grew up in Gloucester, it's like an anus of Britain in that Devon is the top of the legs and Wales is the bottom of the buttocks. And geographically, it feels like the exhaust pipe of
Yeah.
Britain. And it was back then, I mean, it's a beautiful place. There's loads of these stunning hills that roll up into the Welsh mountains. But back then, it was a small rural town It was quite racist, as I think most provincial towns were in the UK at that time. And it just, all the media I was consuming, I saw a kid. Let's go back a little bit further. There was a kid at our local village hall, our youth club, who just moved to Hynham, which is just kind of northwest of Gloucester, this tiny little village. And he brought a skateboard with him. And it was a Vision, not a Gons. It was the other one, and it wasn't a pro model. It was one of the Psycho sticks.
Right.
He had gullwing trucks on it, OJ wheels. I can still see this board. And he stood in front of us all. There were about 12 of us gathered round, and he ollied the board. And
what, in this town hall?
Just in the playground outside it.
Yeah.
And I'm not shitting you. Like I've heard a quote, or a sample on a song since, and it says, the strongest way to affect someone is to show them something they cannot possibly fathom is real. And this kid did this ollie.
That's cool.
And I was like, what did he just, like, it was pretty much a magic trick. But this kid was a year older than me. And I was like, well, he obviously doesn't know magic. And he just did that. And like anyone else who gets bitten by the skateboard bug, I then became obsessed with first getting a skateboard and then learning how to do what he did. And 3 months later, I ollied a skateboard. And that the desire to get the board, all of the iconography around skateboarding, as I started getting invested in skate media, getting my mum to get whatever magazine she could from W.H. Smith, and then investing that time and finally getting the back wheels off the ground and the tail in the air at the same time. That battle and reward has shaped my life. That's what I've chased my entire life now. And this kid, Simon Tissington, he lived round the corner, and then you're going to love this. James Stentiford moved in 3 doors down from me.
I am going to love this. That's sick.
So James, I was part of my family had moved from Essex, and they were all sailors. And we were into windsurfing, and James was kind of into windsurfing. He'd come from Germany. His dad worked for IBM, I think, or maybe it was ICI, the chemicals company. He'll tell you. It was one of the companies that was based in Gloucester. And Stenty was 4 years older than me, came to school, and he had a really hard time, but we just got a mini ramp in town, and James could skate really well already. Like that Amazing. Natural talent that he'd got was already visible. And Stenty went through school, and then he left, and word got back to us that he'd gone to do a season.
Yeah.
And this idea that you could go and do a season suddenly became real in my head, that like, oh my God, I leave here and I go to Europe. And I wanted, there were a few things going on. Prior to this, the dry ski slope had opened up in Gloucester, and my ski Sunday was on. David Vine invaded your living room in the evenings on Sunday nights, and my dad was like, right, we're all going to go and learn to ski. So we were going up and skiing at Gloucester dry ski slope. We were kind of windsurfing had come in, and we were doing a bit of that. And I was skating as much as I could. And then High Five, this old show that was on Channel 4, Saturday or Sunday mornings, super early. Yeah. They had some Nitro promo video with Damian Sanders and Don Zabo and all of that crew just ripping hard boots in powder. And me and my older brother were like,
what the fuck?
You can fucking skateboard on snow? Just... And then really soon after that, up in Stafford, in Cannock in Staffordshire, Grand Prix, they had these like handwritten ads in the windsurf mags every month with all of the kit that they had. So we'd just be studying it, working out whether we could afford new windsurf kit. And then this little corner of it started showing up snowboard gear. We were like, right, no way, we got to get this. We got to try and get windsurf snowboard gear now. So Grand Prix did a tour around the UK, and they came to Gloucester dry ski slope, and we were able to get on some hard boot kit and start testing it out. And then it was game on. My mum was a school teacher, and she'd got school trips running. So she got the family on the back end of one of those, and we found snowboards we were in Clavier, and we had to go on snow on snowboards, and my brothers didn't have any high backs, so he was doing toe side turns, couldn't do heel side turns. But I think I did like a method first go, and I'd done fly-offs on skateboards before and wasn't really very good at them, was struggling. The idea that it was the first time that I'd properly grabbed a board in the air, and I was like, this is me. This is what I'm going to do. So
amazing. That's such a cool little story. Straight from like the beginning. Love it.
Yeah, like so many, it's kind of weird looking back on it now because you realize how much of your life is chance encounters. Like that Simon Tissington or Tiz, who would then go and he got his car license a couple of years before us, and he had an old Mini Metro. And Stenty, Tiz, me, Al, the Williams brothers, like all of these kids from rural Gloucester would drive to Bristol and just queue up to try and skate mini ramps on a Saturday, like because there was so few places to skate back then. I remember going to Bedminster in Bristol, the old 70s concrete down there.
Yeah.
And trying to learn to skate concrete when you've never seen anything like it. And Bedminster was pretty rough, and the other one there was one in St Paul's and St George, and some skinheads came in, and we were just like terrified. The skinheads just I think I managed to hold on to my board. They took someone else's board, and we were all freaked out. And they started I don't know if you've ever been to Bedminster.
I haven't, no.
It's on a hill, and there was a guy, Specs, who used to skate it, and he'd just go down the hill hitting everything. And the concrete was so hard to skate. But the gnarly kids skated the vert ramps and Planet Earth and these banks down at the bottom. The skinheads, kind of buoyed by confidence at stealing skateboards from the kids up at the top, made their way down. And then the bigger boys were at the bottom. And we were kind of following at a distance, waiting to see if we'd get a chance to get boards back. And the skinheads met their match at the bottom of the skate park, and I remember this fight breaking out and one of the skinheads getting his leg broken by someone smashing a skateboard on it.
No way.
It was pretty visceral experience as like a 12-year-old. You're like...
Yeah, I bet.
But I think of this a lot. It kind of that solidarity that you had back then, and it's diluted slightly now with the popularity of the sports, but I think it still exists as you get more embedded in our culture. And so there was the physical act of doing it, there was the travel element of getting to go out on snow, and then there was that community that I started to see building around us as we got more and more into it. And I think those three things combining were like, I wasn't getting that from anywhere else in my life, not in Gloucester anyway. There was a really good music scene down there in the Forest of Dean. Like we had raves really early, EMF coming out of there, some incredible DJs. But yeah, it wasn't a cultural hub. And I say this, and it's probably not fair now, but growing up in Gloucester helped me recognise that life was happening somewhere else and that I was going to chase it.
Yeah, I can actually relate to that quite a bit. And a lot of the things you said as well, actually, like when you first saw that Ollie as well, like little things spark there, which I can totally relate to, and similar experiences.
What was it for you?
Mine was, because, I mountain bike before I snowboarded. That was like my thing. I was obsessed. And for me, I was down in Lymington, and I was walking through these woods where I knew there was some riding going on. And there was a guy called Steve Gill, and he just popped. He's a legend mountain biker, still is now. He's like 50, probably in his mid-50s, and still ripping. Like he's like absolute legend. Anyway, and I remember seeing him. He used to ride for the Team Animal mountain bike team, same time as John O'Verity was riding for Animal. And I remember him just popping out of this like side cut thing. It's like a side hit basically, and just doing this like table, like perfect table, like BMX style. Tweaked, or not even tweaked, like flat as a pancake, and exactly the same thing how you described. I was just like, what did I just see? Like, is that possible? Like, I've got to do that. And yeah, that was the thing which opened me to those sports. And I remember just getting so obsessed by mountain biking. I went down there, and eventually I ended up riding with him, and he kind of I rode with him all the time. He kind of taught me how to ride a bike. And actually, he would probably he wouldn't admit, like, for me to say this, but he kind of inspired me big time. But also, you know, all my snowboarding, everything, that moment, that changed everything for me. I was like, right, that's what I want to do. I want to invest my time into that sport, and then obviously that led on to snowboarding eventually.
How funny is it that these, like, all of us, I guarantee you, with action sports, maybe it's the same for everyone. Like, some people, it'll be the piano or the guitar, or it'll be meteorology or engineering, whatever it is that touches someone. They're like, that's me. If you can, I think it's the greatest gift and also the biggest tragedy. If you get that, it's a gift. If you don't find that passion, life's quite hard if you don't have a passion, I think.
Like, totally, 100%. You need that. You need something to keep you going all the time. I hear so many stories of people I know who've worked in London who just get so consumed by work, and then and they're not doing anything for themselves, and they just go mental. You can't really sustain that. You know what I mean?
Well, I always think, you look at people with, as you get older, like, whether it's drugs, booze, like infidelity, gambling, you're looking for a high or a hit. I feel really, really lucky. Like, I love to party, but I don't have that drive where you're like, I need this now, because I feel so fulfilled with those other elements. Whether it's,
totally.
I found mountain biking really late. And that's been one of my greatest joys, is learning. When my son, we moved to Verbier for 3 years we went for 3 months and ended up staying 3 years between 2015 and 18. And after the first winter, when we knew we were staying, I was kind of eyeing up, like, what should we do in the summer? And in the back of my mind, I'd always wanted to give paragliding a go and was thinking about that. But I spoke to a few people and they're like, you know how when you're skateboarding or you're snowboarding or you're mountain biking or you're surfing, you've got stories where you nearly died.
Yeah.
You get those in paragliding too, but they're a little more serious. And I was like, I'm not so sure about that. And then literally in the same week, we were snowboarding and the bottom of the mountain was starting to melt out. And Oscar, who was my son, who was 7 at the time, was like, what are they? I was like, those are the mountain bike trails. He's like, I want to do that. And then that summer, like, he was 7, I was 42, I think. No, 41. We started getting into it. And I'd ridden bikes as a kid, heaps, but it was one of the best things I can remember doing, because with Oscar, it leveled us. We stopped being father-son, but we became mates while we did it, because I wasn't teaching him. We were learning together, and that was a really, really special time for me. I have very fond memories of that.
Oh, that is amazing. Yeah, I hope to do that with little Leigh one day.
Do it. Sick. Find something that you don't know that he shows an interest in, and then do it together so they drive it. It's been, watching him ride now is horrifying. I got myself in a bit of trouble actually last New Zealand summer, so a year ago now. I was chasing him. I live down in New Zealand. We've got incredible trails around Queenstown and Wanaka, and the Gondola Access Bike Park. There's some big stuff there at Skyline in Queenstown, and there's a few trails where I was chasing him and he'll hit everything. He does dream track. He can flip a bike. And I was just getting really confident and I was riding well. And then I had one big slam. And it was one of those ones. I was slightly off balance as I landed, thought, no, I've got this, sent it off the next jump. And then I was like, I landed that really offline and I was macking and I was heading towards, I was kind of on the edge of a trail, you know, where you're like, right, I've got to get my weight over and I've got to get back on here. It was a cutting where it was kind of 2 foot, 3 foot high tree stumps. And all you could see, you're like, right, that's either going to cave my face in, break my back, or compound fracture my femurs. Best case scenario, I'll probably die if I go in there. at this speed. I was like, I've got it. So the first order of business was like, I've got to get the front wheel back on the track.
Yeah.
And I just managed to do that. And I relaxed slightly and forgot the back wheel. The moment I got the front wheel on, the back wheel slipped and I got high-sided, but I wasn't going into the tree stumps anymore. And I just got tomahawked down this trail. And I was...
Oh my God.
I knew I'd done some damage and I was right next to the shaper's shed, this tin shed. Bike was decimated. Like, it was in, like, bits. Back wheel buckled. And this guy came running out the shed, this kid, and he was like, "You all right?" I was already up, just like I'd pulled the back of my shorts down because I could feel all of my back was so hot. I'd just skinned it, and I sing when I'm in pain. I was just like dancing around like a bear on a hot plate. I was like, "Fuck!" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'll be all right." And then I rode the bike down off that, and I was okay. I'd knocked my head a bit, but I was like, I'm not unconscious. I'd done a bit of concussion stuff. Tried to chase the kids down the hill again and slipped a pedal about literally 50 meters further down the hill in a rock garden and just nutted myself. Rode the crossbar through a rock garden on my nuts. I was just like, what am I doing? And then 2 weeks later, came off again really hard and banged my head again, like to the point the helmet had got quite a lot of damage. So I was like, okay, I need to slow down. And it's...
Mountain biking is brutal. Like when you go down, you know about it. I mean, it doesn't mean that like I'm not saying snowboarding's not as bad, but when you're on snow and you fall, you're kind of obviously sliding with the mountain, you're going down and it can hurt. But dirt and when you're on trails, you really like hit the deck hard, don't you? And there's no like sliding.
You've got a really sharp, polished, pointy bit of metal between your legs that you've got to avoid while it's all going on. The snowboard, at least, I mean, we did see, was it Jiao Yu Liu at the Olympics? She got a heel edge in the forehead.
Oh my God.
That was like, it was one of the worst scorpions I've seen. Like, she was lucky that the heel edge didn't lock under a helmet.
A clip of that. That's mental.
Yeah, she hit the ground. There was some, like, we're getting there, aren't we? Like, you look at what's at stake now in snowboarding.
I know, yeah.
Some of the slams we saw, the free ski half pipe men's and women's, like we had two, like the kind of seizure concussions where limbs go rigid and people are just...
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's horrible when it's like that, isn't it? I mean, yeah, with pipe, there's just no... I mean, slopestyle is... I feel like when they know their speed, which they obviously do in competitions, if the course is designed well, they kind of just going straight, aren't they? And they land in a sweet spot. But pipe, if you go too far one way or the other, you're either on the deck or, you know, your 20-foot air turns to a 40-foot to flat. You know, it's horrible. I mean, even the whole...
They reckon it's 30 centimetres. That's what you've got to play with, roughly.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
Especially when you look at what Kaishu did at Snow League, like 25 feet out of the pipe now. You're like 30 centimeters is when, like, what percentage of it's a foot, isn't it? So it's 4% of a margin for error at 25 feet is what you've got.
It's just so crazy, isn't it? How mad is that? The feeling of being 25 foot air in that pipe, God knows what's going through his head. He's probably just calm as.
Yeah, he's a Hirano, isn't he? But I did interview Ingmar Backman about his backside air in Rick Scranton in '96 one year. I said to him, "What? Like, can you remember it?" He's like, "Oh, I remember all of it." I was like, what was it like? He could see it. This was 20 years later, and it was like the overwhelming feeling, he said, was that he said, when you drive a car really fast, like you get it to 250 kilometers an hour, like 170 miles an hour, and the road goes really thin. He said, it's the same thing with the landing at that height. The landing looks really small.
Amazing.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? Man, amazing. So when did your presenting come into play through all this?
Well, it's so funny, isn't it? I always think about, we started this question, didn't we? We got sidetracked. I always look at it. So my job is, when I'm commentating and I'm doing my research, the more of this that you do, the more you realize that there's never a like, oh, you're suddenly a pro snowboarder. All of these kids that we watch at the Olympics, it is like now, arguably, like from the age of 6 or 7 or 8, they start taking it quite seriously. And it's just this gradual process. And it was very, very similar for me with presenting. So I was a terminally mediocre semi-professional snowboarder with very big dreams and all the ambitions. But unfortunately for me, I'm about 6 months younger than Terrier. So throughout my budding career, I had a constant yardstick of showing me just how shit I was. It was so demoralizing. But so I think I'd gone out to do my first winter season when I was 18 in 94. And at the end of that winter, so this would have been March 1995, the British Championships were supposed to happen in Teen, but they happened something happened in Teen and it ended up happening in Val d'Isère. And I already identified as a free rider, but I was like, I can do a bit of stuff. And I did really well in the snowboard cross and then did all right in the pipe. And then the last day was supposed to be the big air. And the night before that, we went to the Petit Danois, this amazing bar in Val d'Isère, run by this Danish giant back then. It started off being run by this guy, Andy Sissons. And then he ran Playback as well, this nightclub, which got shut down by the French authorities. This is a different story, but he gave everyone baseball bats and clubs, and we got to drink the bar dry and wreck the club because he was getting thrown out. His lease got taken halfway through, so he's like, wreck the place.
Just trash it.
And we went, I was 18 in a nightclub with a baseball bat full of mirrors and bottles and glasses.
That sounds quite fun, actually.
That was a mental night.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was in the Petit Danois the night before the big air, and I'd had a few, and I got it in my head that I could front flip off the bar.
Oh, yeah. But this rings a bell, this story.
So let's imagine the top of the frame here of the picture is the roof. So I'm stood on the bar, and that's how low the ceiling is. I can't even stand up straight. So in my head, I don't know what it's a testament to how drunk I was, but I've no idea why I thought I'd be able to front flip. So everyone egged me on though. Everyone else is wasted. And they're like, yeah, do it. So I jumped in the air, went to front flip, obviously smashed my feet on the ceiling, which stalled me. And then I lawn darted head first into a concrete floor. I don't have this confirmed, but I've had my head and neck and back x-rayed since, and there are breaks in there. I can't remember anything hurting my neck as much as that did, so I'm assuming that's where I broke it. But the next day, there was no way I was doing anything. I was like rigid head, just like, ugh.
No way.
And there was a guy called, I can't remember his surname, sorry, Colin, but Colin he was known as Colin Blackflies for a long time. And then he was Colin Volcom for a long time.
Cool. But
it was the Blackflies big air at the British Champs that year. And he was like, oi, Ed, you can talk, take this. And he gave me the microphone because I couldn't ride. And I commentated that day, and it was the best competition. And I had the most fun just sledging everyone, being the center of attention, showing off. Obviously, that was my perception of it. The riders were the center of attention. But as far as I was concerned, I'd got the mic and I could do whatever I wanted. And that was the day that Gumby overshot the big air by double. Have you ever heard that story?
I have heard that story, yeah.
That
How did he come out from that?
He went and did what he called a dog. He landed like the impact. He overshot the kicker by double, landed on flat piste. And I think he did some organ damage, but he just went and sat for 3 days in a like hole. He called it, I'm going to do a dog. And he just sat in like a corner, got and pissed blood for a bit, and then came out and was fine.
Just came out of it.
Like Jesus at Easter, basically.
Yeah, that was the. Did he do the Xbox Big Day? Was that the Xbox Big Day Out? That was his thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Was that
yeah.
after?
That was a long time. That was 5 or 6 years afterwards. There's another story
Okay,
about that, but that was my
but
first
that's where
time on a microphone, and then
amazing.
I did a couple of bits, but then it took about 2 or 3 years later, I broke my ACL, and I took a job at White Lines, and I was doing tiny bits of emceeing in between that time. But when I took the job at White Lines, I started going to all of the events to report on them. And increasingly, I started picking up the mic. People gave me the mic at more and more of them. BoardX turned into the European Open, turned into Air and Style, turned into the Arctic Challenge, until I was kind of a bit like Henry Jackson is now.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah.
I think in that realm, I did nearly every. I did the US. The only one I didn't do was X Games, but
No way.
and
Amazing.
maybe whatever that Toyota Big Air was in Japan. But I travelled to almost everything else, and it was. I started realizing that the snowboarding was gone, and that maybe there was the journalism and the broadcasting was my calling.
Amazing. That's epic. That's so cool. And then obviously you must have done that for a while. And then the Ski Sunday was just, again, was it right place, right time?
No, there was. It's hard, isn't it? Looking back, there's so much providence and good timing. But in 1998, I'd done a lot of emceeing, but I was at BoardX again, and Christian Stevenson, who had every snowboarding action sports job in TV in the UK at that time. I think he was doing MTV Snowball. He was doing Rad. He would do. I don't know if he'd done. No, Bored Stupid had finished by then, but. I ended up at BoardX and Christian was at something else, and they were like, can you just stand in front of the camera and do a bit of this? And I remember having to try and say things, remember a line in front of a camera, and it took me like an hour or something ridiculous to do 3 or 4 bits.
Yeah.
But I did that weekend, and I'd done the live emceeing, but I'd done bits of TV as well, and I was like, well, that's it. I'm a TV presenter now.
Sick.
Nothing happened for another year. And I suppose this is what I was getting at with when you watch talent develop in sport. Like, it takes so long, and there isn't this sudden, like, a couple of people get these big, like, this is your moment. But most people, it's just incremental steps. And someone might see you at that point and be like, oh, they discover you in that moment. And they're like, oh, where's he come from? But for you, it's just these tiny steps, incremental steps that are happening all the time. And I worked my way up. I did bits of TV, but this was at a time when action sports events between sort of, let's say, 99 and 2004, Red Bull had a vert ramp that all summer would be touring skate parks through the holidays, and then at weekends would be at a festival. And they needed me or Christian or Tim to MC that. There'd be mini ramp sessions at the Boardmasters. There was Gold Coast in Devon. There was a BMX event. There was a skate event all summer, and there was a snowboard event all winter. So I'd just be working for White Lines during the week, and then I'd be in an event every weekend. And that was my university. I learned how to speak to people. If you were doing live stuff, I think it's why Tim's so good. He's done, and Henry, like, if you're doing live stuff, you can see instantly whether an audience understand what you're talking about. So you get that, okay, I'm not speaking. Most of the people here aren't core fans. I need to work out a way of explaining
it. Yeah, exactly. And you guys are amazing at that.
But that's really hard to get now. There's not many kids. There's not as many events, so kids don't get the same opportunities to learn their craft like that. And it's much harder because of it.
Yeah. You're essentially just like studying snowboarding, aren't you? Just every single trick, rotation. Like, where are you getting all that? Are you just tuning into edits and, podcasts and stuff like that to just try and get as much information as you can so you're prepared for it? You know what I mean? Because obviously there's a lot to deal with.
There's nothing worse. The most terrifying thing on earth is being live on air and not knowing.
Yeah.
And I can hide it. There's so many tricks that you can use, like any job that you do. But I hate that feeling of not knowing. I feel like if I've got an athlete, I've seen, you get taught this over the years, and I don't have many personal regrets. No, I do have some regrets, but I've felt very bad when riders have come up to me, or mostly it's parents, because young riders don't have the courage or the confidence. The parent will come up and say, you got this wrong, or you don't say their name like that, or that trick was that, and that's, you have to, I have a very, very strong sense that you have to do everyone justice, and that's what you get paid for. That's your job, is to make sure that you know. And I actually think if I had a secret recipe, it's that Tim and I work so hard. I reckon we've got 10,000 hours of biographies on skaters. Wow. Just for example, let's go back to Milan Cortina. You've got 60 men in snowboard, big air and slope. You've got 35 men in half pipe. You've got 35 women in slope and big air. Then you've got 30 women in snowboard pipe. So across those, you've got about 150 bios. Each one's going to take you minimum 20 minutes. A lot of them we've already got built. But then you do that for free ski. Then you do that for snowboard cross.
Oh my God,
then you do that for ski cross.
That's crazy. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, you're doing sometimes close to 300 bios between the two of us. And there's cheat codes around it. I know Tim knows what he's got to say. I know that I need a probably 10 to 20 second line on everyone that introduces them the first time you see them. You get the graphic up and they're at the top of the pipe. I need 20 to 30 seconds saying, okay, this is them. After that, I can talk about scores and other bits. But if you've got a medalist, you need to be able to fill in all of that bit for the flower ceremony. But then critically, pipe's amazing now. And we've started doing it for big air and slope as well. But pipe, I have a steno of the last year of their run and how it's developed.
Oh, nice. Wow, no way.
And then
so much detail.
Yeah, and then you start getting, and this work, all of this work now, and I had this, one of the biggest regrets. It came so naturally. When I was live emceeing every week, that would have been 98 to 2004, say. And then I was doing, to come back to your question with BBC, I was doing so much. I'd got Free Sports on 4, was the Channel 4 series. And I was doing a lot of stand-up pre-recorded TV at that stage, starting to learn my craft. And I was angry that I hadn't got the Salt Lake City Olympics job in 2002. And then I got the call. Graham Bell texted me and was like, would you be interested in doing this for the Olympics in 2006? And I was like, yes, I would. And I was at every snowboard event. I knew who was doing everything, and I was just so confident. I turned up to that, and I'd done a little bit of research, but in my head, I was just like, I know this. And I was And I used to, after those, at the first Olympics I did, I think I took the Sopranos box set and a PlayStation, and I didn't go out any night. I had to be up at 3:30 a.m. to catch 3 shuttles to get from Sestriere to Bardonecchia to do for 10:30 to do a day's worth of commentary. And then I'd get back, eat dinner, play like FIFA football or something, and then just go to bed, because I was like, I have to get this job right. But any other event, I would literally turn up. And when I started doing TV stuff, I would have a few paper notes about bios about people, and then I'd leave them all in the commentary box and go and get drunk and walk away. The amount of data that I left behind that I would kill for now. And I'm like, oh my God. But Tim and I have been doing this for probably 12 to 15 years of data now, since like 2012, that we've built up. And that base of knowledge and experience is why I think I'm still getting work and we still have some value now.
Exactly. I think that, just going back to what you were saying, you know, being 50 and getting so much work and being so busy, it's obviously you've put this 15 years of hard work into you know, having a degree in snowboarding essentially. And obviously, you know, you guys are the ones to do that job, and you've got the knowledge, and that's what you need. There's not many people have got that. So I think, yeah, good work, Eddie.
Well, I'd spent my 30s terrified someone was going to take all of my work. For a long time, I thought it was going to be Tim, which I wouldn't have been upset about. But I spent my 40s more and more concerned that I couldn't see anyone coming through. And I've started now with the old head of Red Bull Live working. Red Bull we're building this on-air talent academy. So for commentators, field reporters, hosts, experts, there's not many, I said it before, there's not many places where you can gain experience. There aren't many entry points to the industry now. And my knowledge, people like me, you have that knowledge of the sport, but then it's the skill set of actually being able to broadcast, knowing what's expected of you and how to behave on a set, like what a brand wants, what an event series wants from you, being able to turn up and just deliver. That's huge. So like we need credible voices. Otherwise we'll end up with stick and ball sport presenters doing these jobs. And then the culture will, like, my great fear is that if we don't have people who can protect our culture when it's broadcast, then we'll go the same way. I think that's a big reason why hot dog skiing turned into aerials and moguls. There was no one there to look after it and say, this is our culture, this is who we are.
Mate, well, snowboarding's in good hands.
Not really.
Dude. Amazing, dude. Listen, I got a guest question from Jono. It's like Jono Verity, that is, if people don't know who Jono is. It's a minute long. So I'm going to just see if we can even hear this first. Okay, ready?
Well, this is a treat that you've got Big Eddie on your podcast. And my question for him, seeing that it's still a very small thing, but there is that show called Regression Sessions that Eddie and I have been dipping in and out of for years, where basically we have a go at seeing who's the best or who's the least shit at snowboarding with these audience voted videos that we put out. But my question to him is this format something that we could take stratospheric, and could we make it work in a big way? Because I think it would be brilliant. Nice one, Eddie. Nice one, Si. Bye-bye.
Did you hear that? Okay.
I heard it fine. That's
amazing.
I 100% agree with Jono. I think there is such an appetite. Like, I watched the regression session came from watching Marco Calupo versus Tom Curran at J-Bay. They had to give, the WSL had to give the athletes from the semi-finals enough recovery time ahead of the finals. And J-Bay was heaving 6 to 8 foot. Right. And Oki and Curran went in a legends battle ahead of the final.
Sick.
And it was better than the final. Curran got a 10. Oki got a 9.8. It was outrageously entertaining surfing. And I remember talking to Jono and I was like, we should do this. Because it's also a way of keeping you, like, I kind of keep my snowboard tools sharp because I love snowboarding, but also because I might bump into Jono at any time and I have to be able to beat him.
He's told me about this. He actually told me a mountain bike story as well, that he always says to me, you shouldn't really go mountain biking with you because you guys, you know, push each other too much and fall off your bikes, because we were talking about that earlier on. But yeah, there seems to be, you and Jono push each other a lot, right?
You kind of reach that age, don't you, where there's some people you hang out with, you're like, oh, well, I'm quite old. But then some people you hang out with and you're like, I am young again and I will beat you.
John is definitely one of those.
Yeah, and we're extremely bad for each other. Hersha hates me for that, I think. I've been responsible for her having to care for Jono more than anyone else. But to answer Jono's question, it 100% is. I've actually got a plan for this tomorrow. I'm supposed to be heading up to Bear Mountain tonight.
Oh, wicked.
to go riding with Todd Richards tomorrow. So
Mate, that's going to be epic.
I've ridden bear with him
Dude.
a couple of times before, and he fucking rips.
He's good, isn't he?
He's
Have
like,
they got a little pipe still there? They got still running. They used to have a pipe the left hand side as you're going up the chair. There was one anyway. I remember it years ago.
They've always, yes, I'm sure there is. Either Summit's got a really good one. I'm pretty sure Bear's still got one. It's not super pipe. It's like the Lark's mini pipe styles. But they've got a mini ramp size one as well that properly gets old school highways up the side.
That's where I'd be. That'd be fun just getting in there. And especially you and Todd Richards. I mean, that's a good spot to be, right?
Oh my God. Well, he's still got a McTwist, Cab 7. I think he's got front 7 as well. Like, he's going to pull my pants down. Like, I'm going to get annihilated. But in the interests of promoting the regression session, I'm going to get Todd involved in a regression session.
No way. That would be sick. What about a McTwist? Have you got a McTwist in you? Do you reckon you could just throw it? Because
they're pretty easy.
Chuck one of those?
I only had one go at one. And unfortunately for me, I used to have the idea that, like, pre-airbags, I used to wait until a powder day and then be like, right, okay, I'm just going to do this and I'll do it massive. Like, I did the biggest back 3 I've ever done was off my heels trying to learn rodeos, like powder landing, and I just gunned it. I was a Johnny Barr. He can verify this. And I did a melon back 3 off my heels. So massive. In my head, I was like, you just carve off your heels and then throw your head. But of course, you just fall off your heels. You actually need to send your head backwards.
Yeah.
I didn't get
Dude.
that. It was horrible. But amazing. I did a McTwist out of a quarter pipe and tacoed myself on the deck, like belly first, like smash my nuts.
Yeah.
But I think if you do it small and just throw really hard, what's the worst that can happen?
Exactly. It'd be good. You know, you're in good hands. Bear's wicked. Fun Mountain is a good spot.
I reckon it's the closest you get to a skate park on snow.
Yeah, it is. Definitely.
I've only been a couple of times, but it feels like, 30 years of having a park? Yeah. I interviewed John Rice, the guy he was responsible for building the first snow park there. And he was head of mountain operations, and he was wearing 2 hats, and he was also mountain safety. So he came up with the idea of, he was like, yeah, we're going to build a snow park, and yes, this is definitely safe, which is why it happened.
Amazing. Hey, do you know what I just thought of then was some edits I've been watching recently have you seen the midlife crisis edits where with Todd's in them and
Blaze Rosenthal.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Blaze is in there, and they're sick. Like, I'm so into it. And they've even got those like hoods made up. I mean, I'm 43 now, which is crazy, and I'm still like so down to snowboard and learn new tricks. And I just love that people are like, you know, as long as you keep doing it a bit and you keep in good shape, you can keep snowboarding.
Like, look at Matt Barr's. Did you watch Social with enormous FOMO as Matt Barr's 50th unfolded? Did you watch Matt Barr's 50th on socials with massive FOMO? Yes. Like, that crew, there is still nothing that is as rewarding, I think, in terms of friendship and bonding as going out and ripping around a mountain for a day.
Definitely.
Like, I've got bad news for you. Chad Otterstrom is 43. I met him the other day at Snow League for the first time. I'd never met him before. He is a legend. But, you know, he's still got a back double 10 at 43.
No way. Yeah, he's a beast, isn't he?
We're coming into a generation now, I think. We're starting to get people like Travis, Torstein, like Otterstrom, like these people in their 40s who've got big, big tricks. It's going to be pretty awesome.
It's going to be cool. I think it's going to be a lot of, you know, middle-aged people ripping. You know, everyone's like snowboarding a lot and you know, and not getting pissed as much and just trying to keep nice and, you know, healthy, basically. So
a little bit of Pilates goes a long way.
Yeah, exactly.
I tell you who I was on the age front and staying rad. I was doing a bit of research on Spencer O'Brien for Natty Select, and Her dad. Do you know her dad's name?
No.
In
No.
the fantastic tradition set up by Neville, Phil and Gary Neville's dad, his name's Brian O'Brien.
No.
But Brian O'Brien is in his 70s now, and he still rips Whistler Blackline.
No way. 70.
70. No.
Oh my goodness me, that's sick.
That is life goals right there.
Yeah, that is life goals. Definitely would like to be snowboarding when I'm 7.
I'm going to need some miracles in modern medical technology for my knee. Whoops.
Eddie, I'm just going to pause this one sec. I want to just get you back because it's a bit delayed. One sec. Let me just give you a call back. Is that all right?
Yeah. Cool.
I'm just going to stop and I don't know why it's so delayed. There we go. So people can't call me basically. Right, are we in?
I can hear you.
Great, thank you. Right, we're back in the game. Back in the game. Right, where are we? Let's go back to some of my questions here. I've just got a few left basically. But yeah, where did the name Whoppercocker come from? That's your IG handle, wasn't it? Or was it was
for a while. Old age finally caught up with me. Having children who are old enough to understand Whoppercock kind of killed that off. But that's a layover. Matt Barr was writing for The Guardian at one stage, and he got a commission to write about the World Air Guitar Championships, which were being held in Brighton at the time where we were living.
But this is familiar.
Yeah, and he was a bit nervous. He was like, look, just in case it's a bit shit. No, like, he called one of the two extroverts he knows in Jono and me. So I got the call and he was like, can you just come down and in case it's rubbish, like prance around a bit? I was like, yeah, all right. So went down, took my Evel Knievel suit, ended up stripping off naked, and I joint won the prize. But I was like, I quite enjoyed that. At the time, this was 2000. Hair metal and soft metal at the time couldn't have been more unfashionable. You're in the heart of kind of an EDM revolution. Seattle grunge was kicking up. No one wanted to know about Bon Jovi or Flock of Seagulls or Guns N' Roses. So we went down and it was about an hour of dicks thrashing around playing air guitar, and then about 2 hours of just indulgent hair metal. It was fantastic. Bit of Def Leppard. And then the next year it kind of caught my imagination. There was this incredibly weird guy who was so compelling called Jeffrey Disastronaut, who ran it. And he was an absolute lunatic, like proper lunatic. And I thought, right, okay, I should go back next year. And it was gaining momentum. It was in that, I don't know, there was a little zeitgeist of toe wrestling and nettle eating and people doing weird shit like extreme ironing. And I think off the back of lad culture, people were just doing weirder and weirder things. And that really took off. And it had gone from a pub up by the train station to the second year it was down at the Concorde 2.
Yeah, I know Concorde 2.
Yeah, like big venue. I think there were over 1,000 people in there. And I was like, I'm going to do it properly this year. So I don't know. I can't remember where it came from, but I came up with
the name. It's a stage name, essentially.
Yeah, I came up with this stage name, Satan Whoppercock, and created a persona around it, this kind of like enormous penis devil. So I got a friend of mine, Laura, who we were living with. Her mum was a seamstress, and she helped me do this kind of Spinal Tap-esque breastplate with kind of quilted shoulders and spikes. Then I had some sort of red flares. It was somewhere between Guar and Zeppelin.
Right.
But then I had an Alice band, and I melted two red dildos onto the Alice band. And then I did this dodgy deal. I sprayed a cricket box red and then went into a lay-by on the M40 and bought this sketchy indoor firework off this guy and then duct taped to the cricket box. And there was Jeffrey, Disastronaut, had no one was asking about pyrotechnics. And I went on stage with this dodgy firework and shot fire out of my cock and I remember I started headbanging. I was doing Thunderstruck, and one of the dildos snapped off the Alice band and was hitting me in the face. And all I could think of was that scene in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, where he's like getting beaten to death with a dildo was seen as a nice way to go. It's like, wow, this really hurts. Yeah, it's that's where it came from. And he kind of
amazing,
lived long in the memory.
Amazing, love it. All right, here's another one. What was the last trick that you learned on your snowboard?
Ooh, I mean, a lot of stuff is relearned these days. I relearned front boards this year, which I was very happy
that's
about.
A good one. Yeah.
But I've been learning steadily lip slides. I have literally a hang up with disasters, like back foot over the rail and then back foot having to come back in. I can rock and roll or fakey rock nearly anything. Can feeble fakey anything. I can board slide nearly anything, but I had a real problem with disasters and lip slides, putting your back foot over the rail.
Right.
So I've been trying to get over that. Cab threes, I've had a really, like, that's the last trick I've mastered, I'd say. Like, you know, when you get a repetition up, I'd always kind of gone cab one or cab five. And then I was testing a lot of boards, and I started building this line that I'd use to test board switch capability that forced me into it. And I'd go back one, cab three, switch back one, because you got switch landings, switch takeoffs, and it would test your confidence on the board riding switch. And so I just was doing a lot of them, and I started getting cab three stale fish, and it's really lovely. I was like,
feels nice, that one.
Yeah, quite enjoyed it.
Oh, sick. That's some good ones. I like the I used to do like a cab one to shifty.
Yes.
And they just felt really good. I remember getting them nice.
And
then that actually turns into a cab three shifty as well. You should try those. That would probably come quite.
So you kind of over rotate it and then.
Yeah, you come around, over rotate, then yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Snowboarding.
What's on your list to learn for this winter?
That's a good call. I mean, because obviously I'm not snowboarding. I'm just surfing loads at the minute, but I'm going to. Well, I say loads as much as I can, but I'm going to spring break again, and I do love going there and just lapping up the park. So something will come in. I don't know. I've got a few things I'd like to do, but just probably some rail tricks. You know, just same thing, like sort of relearning some things. Like a lip slide 270 or something would be really. I'd love that. Like that would be. It takes me quite a few turns, goes to get that probably, like slam heaps, but yeah, something like that would be nice just to get a little cheeky clip.
I've never spun onto a rail, and that's a big one for me. Like, I'd love to if I can find a big fat tube.
Yeah.
Frontside 270 onto a rail would be.
Onto a rail, yeah. Yeah, those tubes are really good. There was I remember one at Hintertux, just really low to the ground, and you could learn some really fun stuff on it and just like get those tricks. I think Helgensen says that on his bomb hole, doesn't he? He just goes, any kids growing up want to get good at, just get a tube in your garden and just learn everything on it.
Well, my spinning onto a rail is fired up by, I saw Jono do it, I think a year or 2 years ago, and I was like, I don't have that. And the fear that he might one day use that on me in a regression session.
Yeah, he's not much of a rail rider, was he, Jono? Did a bit, maybe.
Well, I think like me, what we lacked in technicality, we made up for in balls. The rails I have seen Jono do are fucking massive and terrifying. So you're like, I do really simple tricks on massive rails.
Yeah, sick. What's the last clip that you bagged that you were stoked about? Have you got anything, in that little iPhone library of yours?
I've got a couple. I got some epic deep snow in Livigno. I got some good turns there. Well, nice. Actually there's no turns. It was so deep you couldn't really turn, but just a couple of bits. But then I got a really nice carve, I call them 0G carves, when you get a bit of terrain like that and then you send the carve in so you're actually kind of semi-inverted on it.
Sick. Yeah.
I love doing those. Tim got a nice one of those for me. There's a spot I always do it on the home run in Larks. But this is going to sound really mean, my favourite clip
Go for
that
it.
I've got recently. During the Larks Open, I got tricked into going up. The first day I arrived, they were like, yeah, come up for a meeting. And I went up to meet everyone, and it wasn't a meeting. I had to film a social clip for Brazil. And they were like, yeah,
All
can
right.
you just do a lap through P60? I was like, I just spent 6 hours in the car. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I've got it.
Haven't done any Pilates before this. Like,
It's like, right, okay. So I just got in and I did the run was pretty shit, but it forced me to unveil my rail go-tos. Because there were light snow year, it was just rails in there, a couple of tiny kickers. So there was some 180s, but a lot of 50/50s and board slides. And I was mic'd up, so I was kind of joking. I was like, hey, who wants to see another 50/50? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it meant that by Thursday, Friday, when everyone was turning up, I'd had 20 laps through the park. I'd been hitting everything straight away. So one of the bigger features down the bottom, just this long kind of mailboxy style, quite high rail. There was Stefan Carlson, there was Paddy Graham, there was Tim, there was me, there was Scott McMorris had turned up because he's working for Warner Brothers Discovery.
legend.
And we're all sat there and Timo's on the camera psyching everyone up. And he's like, right, go on. So I got on this rail. It's the home run. I've got my backpack on, but put a board slide on this rail. And then McMorris comes straight after me, 50/50, and comes straight off the back, sits down on his coccyx really hard. It looks like he hurts himself so badly. But in my head, all I could think was, I was better than Scott McMorris once. It was.
Oh, man, you have to share that clip with me. I want to see it.
I will do. I'll send it through to you. It's the terrible Schadenfreude. That's the same emotion that drives me and Jono at the regression session drove me then.
Yeah.
It was terrible to celebrate his slam, but deep down I was.
Yeah.
I tell you what else I got. I did get a legit. I've had a good filming winter. I got a legit clip. Spencer Claridge filmed it. We did a splitboard trip to Larks just before the Olympics, and I got.
Cool.
There's a Hollywood run off the top there that I know pretty well. And it was had to cut our way through a cornice. And then it's fairly pedestrian, but it was a steep little shoot. And I got a really nice free riding clip down there that I was proud of.
Oh, wicked. Nice. It's always good getting a little clip high, isn't it? It's like a little memento. Just like, yeah, there's no doubt I love them. I got, when I go snowboarding, I love just snowboarding, of course, but then like, it is just fun with friends. Like, we're all so guilty of it. Like, just like, come on, let's get a clip.
But I have it sometimes. I love it when I'm with Tim or Jono because they naturally pull their cameras out. I'm terrible at it. I don't do it, but I do. Sometimes I get the buzz. I would say 80% of the time, I just have this abject disappointment at what your riding's become. You're like, are my legs really that straight? They felt bent.
Bag your trousers, Ed. Just get some real baggy pants.
I'm on XL Volcom Longos already. They can't get any baggier.
All right. Favorite UK snowboarder? You can only choose one. Who is it?
That is a big question.
I know, it's a hard one. It's hard.
So many. Stenty.
Nice.
Because he's my mate, but I love his style. He's such a good you can put him in any terrain and he's just a joy to watch. There are so many people that could go in there. I love Chris Moran's style. I love how fast Scott Nixon goes.
Yeah.
There's like Jenny Jones, just watching Jenny ride. She's so powerful.
Yeah, amazing.
I love riding with Tim. Tim's board control. Have you ever ridden along with Tim? And because I'm regular and he's goofy, he always does it to me. Whenever he's in front of me, he can literally just do that little twitch that he does with his back foot and stab the snow and put snow in your face. You're going really fast and he's just like, bang. And you're like, oh.
Just in your... Yeah. No, I know that move. Yeah, Stenty's a good one. I rode with him at Spring Break a couple of seasons ago, and it was epic. It was a real treat to shred with him.
It's glorious, isn't it?
All right, well, I'm going to try and sort of close things off now. But what's one thing people will be surprised to learn about you? I ask that to everyone who comes on here now.
Anyone, please.
I think everyone knows a lot about you.
Yeah. But then people, like, that's the thing. It's like when you travel to a country, isn't it? You know the headlines and what everyone's told you about it. But then when you get there, it's always so, so different. Maybe that my wife would say crazy OCDs. Like, I'm
Oh, are you?
very fussy about, like, I think not an OCD, it's perfectionism. I think I come across maybe quite relaxed, but actually I work really hard at trying to make stuff right. Or at least in my head, like I'm the Swedish architect when it comes to stacking the dishwasher. Sean, my wife, is the raccoon on meth.
Nice. No, I've heard Jono say something about you working really hard and being, quite like that. So yeah, that's cool. All right, wicked, man. What's happening next then? What you got? You got natural selection right now.
Yeah,
and then do you finally get to go home soon?
Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
So I've got what, we know at least 2 days. I think Friday or Saturday we'll run natural selection finals. And then they'd asked me to go to Larks for the Snow League finals, but thankfully that fell through the other day. So I'm going to go home. I'm going to sit there for 3 weeks, and then natural selection bike and ski and the uninvited. So that'll be an epic trip. But my son, Oscar, he wants to be a rally driver. So
wow, he wants to get into that.
Yeah, and I'm like, brilliant. Let's support you. Like, we'll do whatever we can. And it's amazing. I'm pretty practical, but I've never really done much with cars. But it's amazing these days what the right tools and YouTube can do for you. We're building, like, he's bought a shitty Impreza. So
you're building something in the garage, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember we called you with, I think Jono was with you in New Zealand, and me and Hersha was speaking to John, and you showed us.
Yeah. So Oscar's I bought an old 80s ramshackle Porsche for £5,000, and Oscar, my lad's got a Subaru Impreza, and we've put roll cages in them, and we're just sorting them out now. But you can, like, New Zealand's got a bit of space, and you can do, like, it costs us $70 to enter, so 35 quid to enter the local autocrosses, which are basically cars in a field for a day.
Yeah.
And I'm ashamed to admit how much fun it is going sideways in a car. It's pretty funny.
That's epic. Man, thanks so much for joining me today. I've really enjoyed that. It was so sick.
Oh, Bells, all the time, my friend, all the time.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this little podcast venture I'm on, and having you on's an honor. So thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure.